Fortnite OG, a game mode we thought never would exist, but now it does exist, but had a huge fell off and a very low player count. So today we're getting into why that is. Let's get right into it. Hey guys, my name is Iris, and today we're going to be uncovering why Fortnite OG had a huge fell off. So as you guys know, in 2023, yes, 2023, after around Chapter 4, Season 4 ended, we got some crazy news. OG was coming back to the game. And this was insane news at the time. We had not seen the OG map in years. However, once they launched OG for the first time, something was off. First of all the guns, the OG guns, had Chapter 2 gun models, even though in the cinematic trailers, it had the OG gun models. But in the actual game, it has the Chapter 2 gun models, which is pretty weird. And the graphics weren't the same. However, people did not care. The OG map was back in its full glory. And it's only there for a month, by the way. And people went crazy. Millions of players went on to Fortnite, and the player counts eventually reached up to 10 million. But now, they released it as a permanent game, or around a year later, they released OG Fortnite, and the season ended. But now, it's averaging around 15k players. So why is that, and why is the player count so low? Well, let's get right into it. So first of all, reason number one. To find out how OG Fortnite fell off, we have to go back to why Fortnite OG had 10 million players in the first place. So, as we know, that season was a month old. They announced it was only coming back for a month. And people went crazy. People thought this is the last chance to play OG Fortnite. And who knows, it could be. And they hopped on, everyone hopped on. The memories was insane. And people were so hyped and having so much fun in the game. And even making new memories with friends. But if we're looking at it from a gameplay standpoint, the OG season was kind of dog shit. Okay, whoa. Before you start hate commenting, just watch the full video, okay? Now, the reason why I'm calling the season dog shit. First of all, it's OG, but it's not even OG. And people kind of got blinded by the fact how much hype was around this. But if you actually look at it closely, it's not really that good of a good season. Because first of all, it's not even OG. How can you have an OG season that's not even OG? Now, obviously that is not the main reason though. When OG Fortnite launched, people were going crazy because honestly, the simplicity of the gameplay was very good. There was hardly any movement, but just enough movement to, get away and move around the map. However, there was not too much movement, where whenever you shot an enemy, they'd run around 1,000 meters. So that's why people really enjoyed it, because it was a nice break from the Kamehameha mythics and the the anime mythics we got in Chapter 4. And it was a good break, and we finally returned to simplicity and what a game used to look like, Fortnite. And the graphics, sure, they weren't perfect, but still miles better than the Chapter 4 graphics. They were more cartoony and at least a bit more, cooler. And people don't even realize it, but now the graphics in OG are pretty similar to the OG graphics if you look at it. Now, sure, the fog is kind of off, but that doesn't really matter. But however, let's go back to the actual OG, the first time we got it. It reached around 10 million players. It averaged at like 5 million. And when the end event for Chapter 1, it reached around 15 million players. It was crazy. Now, Fortnite has never seen this type of player count since Chapter 1, by the way. Chapter 4 never reached that type of player count. The most they reached was around 1 million. And people went crazy around OG Fortnite. However, a year later, they decided, why not just release it as a permanent game mode by changing the seasons every month? So they released Season 1. And it got a decent player count. Got to 1.6 million. That didn't last 2 days. It dropped straight to 15k players. That's the craziest that. If you look at the analytics for this game mode, there's a huge ass spike, and then it falls off a cliff. And why is this? Well, first of all, players don't want. When you mean OG Fortnite, you don't mean OG Season 1. Because let's be honest, that season was the introduction of a game, and it's not perfect. By OG Fortnite, we are talking about Prime Fortnite, when you got Chapter 1, Season 5, Season 6, Season 7, Season 8, Season 9, those seasons, we're not counting Season X, that's not a good season. However, those seasons, even Season 4, and those seasons, that was prime Fortnite now. But Epic decided to start it from Season 1, and that was their biggest mistake. The map was empty, the guns, empty, there was nothing. And this was really bad at the time because the Epic Games have evolved and it's like they're taking a step back. And sure, I understand my OG Fortnite, you're taking a step back. But at least you're not taking a too far step back where the guns are so stale, you don't even want to play the game because the gameplay is so slow. And however, now we're in Chapter 1, Season 5. And they released it this season. And it did have a big spike. It actually did help the player base slightly. Now, sure, it did hit around 100k players on its day release. That's because it released on the same day as the new season. So, that's why most of the players went to the new season. However, now it's dropped back to 15k. Why is that? Well, first of all, the hype around this game is dead. Now, sure, the storyline, they actually are doing a different storyline this time. You see in the sky, it's a red rift instead of a blue one. And the event was slightly different for Chapter 1, Season 4. Now, there's not enough hype around this. And that is why the game mode is currently failing. Because people, look at why Chapter 1 succeeded. Okay? There was so much hype around the game. Everyone was talking about Fortnite. You came into school, people were talking about Fortnite. You came outside, people were talking about Fortnite. You came to a party, people were talking about Fortnite. Everywhere you went, you were hearing about Fortnite. And that's why Chapter 1 succeeded. And obviously Chapter 2, Chapter 3 after that, it just kind of went down and down and down. However, Chapter 1, look, we're talking about Season 5 here. They have it right now in the game. Why is nobody playing it? What's going on? So, reason number 1, there's no movement. Okay? Like, sure, in the actual OG season, the first time they released it, they did have decent amount of movement, and we were basically forced to play OG. So that's why there were so many players on it. However, now you actually have an option to play the actual Battle Royale, and people kind of started to realize, hang on, this OG mode ain't that good anymore because it's OG. We're kind of getting tired of it. And the hype around it is gone because they know it'll be there permanently. And that's the problem. When Epic released it for 1 month only, people went crazy because they thought it was going to be the only time the game will be active and available again. However, now you just have the game mode always available, and it's kind of like one of those things where you're like, what do I need to play this? It's always going to be available anyway. If I want to play it ever, I can. But that's the issue. Fortnite should have never made this a permanent game mode. Sure, it brought you a lot of player counts at one point, but now it's absolutely fucked. And that's the issue. To fix OG Fortnite, they have to remove OG Fortnite. And I know that sounds really weird, but to actually make the game fun again, they need to pause. They need to stop right now. And in a couple of months' time, they need to bring back OG Fortnite, but with a twist this time. It's actually OG Fortnite. You literally have the OG HUD, the OG graphics, everything. That's what people will go crazy about. And if they want to do that one more time, they have to do these things. First of all, remove all the bots. Every bot remove. Also, make it where you have to force to be playing. Okay? And make it special. Make it it's only available for a month or a week or something like that. Or even make it more special by making the OG HUD again. Making the OG graphics, even the OG map. But do not start from Season 1. Start from Season 5. That's the best season to start from. Because then people will be hooked from the beginning and actually play throughout. And sure, Double Pump is amazing. That is actually one of the shining lights of this OG game mode. You got Double Pump. It's a lot of fun. And I was actually having a decent amount of fun while playing this game mode because it's Season 5, it has decent gameplay. And we're playing around the shopping carts here. This is a random. I actually hopped into build mode and the low player counts just show. I couldn't even find a full game because I went into duo expert mode. And there were still bots, by the way, so they didn't even fix it. And that's kind of what I'm pissed out about Fortnite. They need to fix the bot problem. Because back in OG, there were no bots really. Everyone was just bad at the game. But there were no bots. So it was not needed. And now they need to do the same. Remove all the bots. Sure, it's going to be a bit sweaty. Hop into zero builds. I already explained it. If you want to watch my okay, I'm not going to shout out myself. But I already explained multiple reasons why zero build is better than build. The only reason I'm playing builder is because I can actually get into a game and play OG Fortnite on no bot mode. even though it has bots. Anyway, I had a lot of fun while playing this game mode, I'm not gonna lie. It was a decent amount of fun. Now, my complaints are, the game is kinda stale. There's not many players since I was in a 60-player lobby. And half the player count, like half the lobby is gone already when you start the game. That's making the player count, like player base, the actual game kind of stale. Alright? And we don't want that. We need full player lobbies. But how do you get more players onto the game? Well, I already explained multiple reasons why. But, guys, by the way, before we continue, please hit that sub button, hit that noise button, hit that like button, because it takes me a lot of time to make these videos. And it's pretty hard to make these videos, I won't lie. But now we're in the third act of the video, guys. The final conclusion. So, Fortnite needs to realize, or Epic Games needs to realize, OG Fortnite, they have to give it up. And yes, I know that sounds annoying, and you're probably fucking saying to me, shut the fuck up, Ivers. You should not be saying this shit. Well, listen, OG Fortnite will never feel like OG Fortnite because there's no fun, there's no hype around it. And it's not even the map that we miss, it's the hype around the game we miss. And people don't realize that. But the simplicity of the game is also crucial. And now in this season, there's not much simplicity anymore. It's more about movement, crazy things, and that stuff. However, people don't play OG Fortnite anymore. It's not special. They kind of ruined it by bringing it back permanently. And you know what Fortnite did in 2023 correctly? They only brought it back for a month. That kept it special, if not even more special, because people wanted to play it even more. However, now they cannot fix it. It's too far gone. And they brought it another time, third time, and it's permanent this time. And unfortunately, nobody's gonna play this ever again. Like, it's just the player counts are gonna drop lower and lower and lower day by day. It does not matter if you change some things or change the storyline slightly, make a red rift, ooh, cool. This will not change anything. Everything will be the same. Nothing will be changed, and the player counts will always be low. Now, what do I say to this? Should they remove OG Fortnite? Honestly, if they want to fix it and stop spending money on this, yes. However, I kind of don't want it removed, even though it probably fixed a lot of problems for Fortnite. It's because whenever I want a bit of simplicity, I just hop onto OG Fortnite, because it's simple. Sure, the gameplay's stale, but it's simple. And that's all we want in Fortnite sometimes. And it's a good break from, all the mythics like I mentioned before. However, I'm not going to be playing it every single day, am I? Because it's the past. And I always have the option to play it, and that's the thing. Once you get the option to have something every day, you take it for granted, don't you? Like, it's even for things in real life. I know we're getting a bit off track here, but you have water every day. You take it for granted, don't you? However, if you didn't have water every day, you'd really want it, wouldn't you? So that's the thing. It's the same with OG Fortnite. Well, you could live without OG Fortnite though. But anyway, thingy. This is why people take it for granted. They don't understand. They're not gonna play it because we always have the option to have it, and that's why. That's my final take on OG Fortnite. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and that was the rise and fall of OG Fortnite. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hit that sub button, hit that noise bell, and hit that like button. And I hope you guys have an amazing day playing Fortnite, and I'll see y'all later. Goodbye.